So speaking of spreadsheet manipulation, I'm going to teach you the very best way to get accurate information for your course rosters. And that is by using Google Contacts. So to get to Google Contacts, you go to your Gmail account. If you don't have one, it's very easy to get one. I suggest you get a Google account. You go to google.com/contacts, and you'll show up at a screen like this if you're not already using it. Now, I've cleared the contacts from this account so that it looks like I have no friends, and I'm not going to tell you whether that's the truth or not, but let's very quickly move into how to gather and create a contacts list in Google Contacts. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new contact. So I'm going to call this contact Testy McTesterson. So his name is Testy McTesterson because I'm just totally making him up. And his email address I'm going to say is test@testing.com. And his phone number I'm going to call 111.1111. And I'm going to put in some more information until it looks something like this. And so I'm going to explain my logic behind this. Basically, what I've done is I've added in the fields, so it's got his first and last name, and then I've added parent first and parent last. And then I've gotten an email address, and I'm going to add also Testy's parent at parent.com. And you can see it's easy to add as many email addresses as you want. It's also easy to define which email addresses these are. So what I like to do is I like to have the kid's mobile number where I can text message the kid. I like to have the work number as maybe a school contact where I can get the kid where maybe he's got contact during the day. And then home is how I know that's how I'm going to reach the kid's parents should that become necessary. And then I've got maybe a little information about the kid's school, and then down at the bottom any notes or information that I gather. So how do I get this information? Well, I get it from two different sources. One, I get a roster when I first get my students, but as we all well know, those rosters are not always full of the most accurate information. So what I do is I sort of create a Google form by going into Google Docs and then creating a new form and then asking for all of this information from the student. And what I end up with is a spreadsheet that has the student's name, multiple phone numbers, parents' names, because I've gathered the information both from the roster as well as from the student via the Google form. And there's more information about the Google form at quickEdTech.com, but right now I'm trying to wrap this up within 3 or 4 minutes so we can move on for the presentation. So what I do now is I'm going to save this contact until we've got Testy McTesterson, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to export the contact. So when I export it, it shows up in a spreadsheet looking something like this. So as you can see in the first column, we've got Testy McTesterson. So if all I've gathered is the kid's first name and last name, then there's an easy way to create this first column. And you're going to have to do that, but it's called concatenate, and it's in another video that I'm going to create. Now, what's the power of this? All it has is a bunch of empty fields, right? Well, these fields are all of the possible fields you could have added from the screen just a second ago. Here's where the power is, though. When I start gathering the information, I can move that spreadsheet around that I have, and I can fill in these columns so that all of my students, here's the notes about Testy, remember I wrote that a second ago. Here is the parent phone number, so I know where to put that, email address, so I know where to put that email address. Here is the place where I'm going to put Testy's email address, and then phone number, phone number, phone number. And as you can see, I've put all this together so that when I drop the information into this particular spreadsheet, all I have to do is hit save. Yeah, I'm going to keep it in this format. And then I'm going to go back to my Google Contacts and I'm going to import it. And when I import it here, all of that information is going to upload into my Google Contacts, and then all I have to do is sync it with my cell phone. And then on my cell phone, every time I get an email, a text message, or a phone call, I know exactly what student I'm talking to. Also, we'll get into this later, when I start using Google Voice to contact students, everything is documented automatically. Thank you very much. It's been Mike Shoemake.